Hi, I have a story for you. It's snowing like crazy here in the Seattle area, which is so unusual. We usually have a couple of snow days a year, but this just goes on, and I am loving it. But yesterday I was visiting a friend, and her walkways were, oh, they had like this much snow, right? She had two staircases, a couple of landings, and she isn't particularly in the place where I felt like it was good for her to be shoveling. And since I enjoy snow so much because it is so rare, it's not the burden that it is for those of you in the Midwest and the East and the Northeast. But I just wanted to help her, so I asked if she had a shovel. And I began to shovel, and I was just singing and enjoying it so much. You know what? Snow is like an insulator. It sort of just brings calm and quiet, gives you permission to be inside. It kind of stops the planet for a while, and oh, God knows we need that. Some of those pauses. And I was out there all by myself, and the snowflakes began to fall. It was like a movie, and I was just getting her done, and I had my little Fitbit on, so I knew I was kicking it and I was gonna get my exercise, and snow is heavy. I'm like digging and flipping and digging and flipping, and I mean that it was like a workout at the gym, and it looked amazing. I had been told by many different people and seen online that you should put kitty litter down because it's really good for traction. And so I started shaking kitty litter out, and at the end I shook some salt on the stairs and thought, you know what? I'm going to go run to the store, get a couple of things before the snow gets bad. Back when I lived in Nebraska, they knew how to deal with snow. So, the flakes begin to fall and the trucks are out before anything can happen. But here, you have to, it's kind of like a puzzle figuring out where, a maze, not a puzzle, figuring out where you can drive and where you can't drive. So I got back probably about half an hour later, and I was horrified. Okay. I don't know who ever started the rumor that kitty litter works for traction, but it had all melted and it looked like cat poop was everywhere. It didn't look like kitty litter anymore. I mean, I'm talking about the most horrible mash of gross everywhere. And on top of that, whoever created this kitty litter, and it said Arm& Hammer, so you're assuming it's baking soda, was the strongest granny perfume I've ever smelled in my life. Like the most concentrated, toxic, horrible. And as it had melted into the ice, yeah, all over my steps, all over the creases, all over all my handiwork. It looked like a cat had actually lost its lunch on every single step. I panicked, for one thing, because I was trying to do my friend a favor, and now I have got this massive, stinky, toxic mess all over. Anyway, my mind was racing, right? And all these pictures were going in my head. What should I do? What do I have to remedy this? How can I get it done quick before she sees what's going on or smells what's going on? I don't know. And I didn't even put that much kitty litter on. I mean, I just kind of sprinkled it. I have to tell you, I went looking for a mask. Like, would there be any kind of I had to finally just wrap my scarf around twice and knot it so I wasn't breathing it in. I began to try to sweep it. Well, it was stuck to the stairs. Just like if you get the picture. It was this thick sludge stuck to the stairs. So then I ran in and I found a dustpan, and I began to scrape up the sludge with a dustpan and dump it over the fence. Then that wasn't working so well, so I began to try to shovel it. Well, then I noticed it was getting all over the beautiful white snow and still stinking. And it was like a nightmare. I was praying, was begging God for a miracle. And I thought, okay, snow is an insulator. So whatever kitty litter has gotten into the snow, just cover it with new snow. So I began to pile up fresh snow on top of the kitty litter snow. Then I ran inside and found a bucket, and I began to scrape off every stair and throw the kitty litter salt mash into the bucket. Then I disposed of the bucket away from the house and put more snow on top of that. Then I had the brilliant idea, because I just could find no relief. I found a trash can, probably, I imagine it's probably 15, 20-gallon trash can, and I began to fill it up with hot water in the shower. Thankfully, she wasn't home yet. I filled it and went up and down those stairs, pouring buckets of hot water on those stairs. I must have done it 20 times. Then I took a big, old, horrible towel, and I soaked it in water, and I began to scrub it. Well, in the middle of all this, I didn't want my nice suede boots to get kitty litter all over them and be toxified forever. And I didn't want my winter gloves were getting saturated with hot water. So I put rubber gloves on, and I took my boots off and went barefoot. Okay, it's snowing. The neighbors are probably calling the cops. There's some mental woman next door. I was beside myself. I just knew I had to get this done. I could not leave the evidence. I came to help, and here I was creating a mess. I was thinking, who could I hire? Is there a spigot with a hose that I can hose this off? I'm feeling bad because the kitty litter is now going to go into the ground. I was a hot mess, right? I'm sweating. I have layers and layers on. I didn't care. I just had to get this job done, and it had to be right, and I had to be a blessing and not a curse to this poor woman. So by the time I finished scrubbing with the towel in my bare feet, I had gone around and flipped over as much fresh snow as I could on anything that was lingering. It was now an hour and a half on top of the snow shoveling job I had done. Just then, she popped open the window and said, "Ma, you've been working so hard." And I just said, "Yes, it's going to be great." I was like a mad, crazy woman. And I'm telling you that because it occurred to me, there were so many aspects to that little trial of mine that it made me think about parenting. And I want to just share a few things about parenting that fits with this story of my snow shoveling mishap, because I think it's going to speak to you in a fresh way. So today in my VIP subscriber content, I'm talking about how parenting is not a compartmentalized project. Instead of a holistic approach where everything's connected, we pick one thing to focus on, and we just crush that one thing. I think a lot of parents have their eye on college, okay? On a degree, at least this is what I've noticed. So the whole process of raising that child is to get them educated so that they're good students, they're well-behaved students, they fit in, they get accepted at a good college, and they get their degree. But I don't think that's enough. And I'm seeing many, too many adult children who have degrees, but they have no idea where they're going in life. They have no emotional intelligence. They are not equipped for life. They're missing so much more. It's like they've taken their child and they've just taken a pair of scissors and cut off their arms, their legs, their hands, their ears. And they have this little piece of them. Successful parenting of world changers, kids who have an impact, should be a holistic approach where everything's connected. And my snow mishap is a perfect illustration of that. Because when you've got your kid on one track, okay, what you're missing is the real deal underneath the surface, okay? For instance, when I was doing my snow adventure yesterday, Think about what I had to be and I had to be innovative. I had to be creative. I had to think outside the box. I had to go deep into the layers of who I am and what I've learned and all the muscles I've built over time to dig deep and to think and to make something out of nothing to be able to get this job done. What are some other things I had to be? I had to be resourceful, okay? I didn't have a lot to pick from. This was not my house, or I didn't have a key to the garage. I didn't have free reign of the place. I had to work with what was in my hands. Okay, so I had to be resourceful. I had to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and I was reaching deep into the recesses of my mind, my history, my experience to figure out how I could make a tool out of what I had in my hand, or what I could find under the porch, or you hear what I'm saying. I had to be extremely creative. I had to have a stick-to-itiveness. Now, I'd already spent an hour joyfully shoveling, gleefully happy, shopping at the store, and I had to come back and I had to kick butt, take names, and get this done by myself. I didn't have anybody around to help me. I didn't have time to even think and call somebody. I was on the spot. Okay, I couldn't bail. I couldn't call melted cat litter cleanup. I mean, we're in a snowstorm here. All right. I had to be a finisher, not just a starter. I didn't just have to try. I had to get it done. These are things that just educating a kid for the education, just parenting them for the big test is never going to give them these things, all right? I had to have conviction because I had promised somebody something. I had to worry about my reputation. I had to deliver my promise, okay? Do you know how many kids these days don't deliver on their promise? I have friends who have businesses who cannot get kids these days, and I'm talking about kids in their 20s and early 30s, to deliver on their promise. They may deliver till the first or second paycheck, and then they just bail. They just ghost. They're just gone. Adios. Get it? I had to get it done. Better to raise a tortoise than a hare. Better to raise a steady Eddie who gets the job done. Okay? I had to have belief. I was literally asking God for insight and wisdom. The Word of God says if you ask Him for wisdom, He will give it to you if you believe that it's coming. And I was pulling help from heaven into my spirit. And I believe that those creative thoughts that came to me about the snow being an insulator and about using the dustpan to be my scraper and to find a bucket, and all these things were coming to me to put the puzzle together. We need to raise children with faith. We need to teach them that there's a living God who will answer their prayers and who will help them with practical matters. If God doesn't care about the littlest thing, He cares about everything. He cares about the sparrow that falls, the Word says. He cares about every hair on my head. He has it numbered, okay? We need to teach our children that. They have a Father in heaven. When they are all alone in a hole trying to figure life out, in a bind, in a pinch, He's going to answer their prayers. And so I was that little child asking my Father in heaven for help because I had to finish and deliver, okay? So I had to have faith. If we're just training for the test, there's too many kids out there who are hopeless, who are in despair. They're well educated, they're beautiful, handsome, have plenty of money, plenty of expendable income, everything that the world thinks they need, and they are hopeless and despairing, and they are not finishing the race. I had to be quick. I couldn't be lazy. I had to be quick. I had a time limit. I had a deadline here, okay, folks? And I had to be extremely flexible. And I had to be willing to suffer. I had to be willing to endure. I was barefoot on wet, icy snow. I was running through the snow in my bare feet. I'm not even kidding you. I was freezing. I was soaking wet because while I was trying to fill the bucket in the shower or the trash can as fast as I could. The handle came off the shower. The handle. I'm not even kidding. The water's pouring. The trash can's full. I just said, whatever it takes. And that's the kind of kids we have to raise. Whatever it takes. Because that's the kind of kid that's going to finish the race. That's the kind of kid that's going to have success. That's the kind of kid that's going to be a good parent and a good husband and a good mother and a good neighbor and a good citizen and a good employee. Whatever it takes, I will do it. I will say yes. I will volunteer. I will be that person to finish the race. I had to put myself last. Just eat it. Just suck it up, Buttercup. That's what I had to be yesterday. I had to. I have 5 sons that I could have texted and said, SOS! And you know what? They would have been there within 10 minutes because they're always like, Mama, whatever I can do, whatever I can do. But you know what? This wasn't their problem. This was my problem. And I could do it on my own with God's help. And at the end of it all, I had to have joy. Because the joy of the Lord, the word says, is our strength. It's joy. I had joy and expectation that I was going to conquer. I was going to be victorious. I could do this. This was figure-outable. Okay? This wasn't brain surgery and I had a pair of scissors. This was figure-outable. As deep and heavy and horrible as it felt at the moment, as stinky and embarrassing and as afraid as I was of disappointing someone, this was figure-outable. And most things in life are figure-outable if we have all these things: innovation, resourcefulness, creativity, stick-to-itiveness, faith, conviction, belief, flexibility, a willingness to suffer. And so that's what I mean by holistic. When my kids got to be a certain age, and they started young, they worked for other people to earn income. They started out very young. I mean, they were toddlers when they started helping me around the house. And by the time they were 2, 3, they had a chore chart. It may have been real simple, but if a kid can walk, he can work, okay? Now, parents diminish the importance of a chore chart. What's a chore chart? And they've got too much homework for a chore chart. They've got too many extracurricular activities for a chore chart. They've got too many parties and movies and video games for a chore chart. Let me tell you what, let me enlighten you to the fact that a chore chart isn't just about cleaning up a mess. A mess is possibility. It's possibility to implement all of these muscles that our children are building. When I tell you that a chore chart will change your life, transform your household, upgrade your entire existence, I know what I'm talking about, okay? My oldest son, I have 5 sons. My oldest is in his mid-30s. My youngest is in his mid-20s. I've had a lot of experience with chore charts. And let me tell you, they have built my sons to be outstanding employees. People will wait in line to hire my sons, okay? You can do the same with your sons and daughters. So a chore chart, to me, is way more important than a college degree, because there's a whole lot of educated idiots that still don't know how to run their life, balance their checkbook, or shovel a driveway. So my kids, at a young age, were working for other people. We homeschooled. That gave them flexibility to have time in their schedule to go work for others. And they were mowing lawns for people whose kids were sitting on the couch watching TV. Now that's a travesty. That's a disaster. That is not a way to raise a kid. My kids were benefiting. They may have been the servant in that situation, but now they're the master in this world and in their lives. And I want to encourage you. You are thinking too small if you are educating for the test and the degree. You have to think again. Help get this revelation. Let me help you. That parenting is holistic. I want you to be successful. I want your children to have an impact and change the world. And the way that happens is 1, 2, 3, building muscles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It starts out very elementary. But now my sons are business owners and entrepreneurs. Now they're employing others. Now they're responsible for others' households. See how this works? It's a beautiful thing. Holistic parenting is the way to do it, friends. Thank you for joining me today. It's been so much fun. And if you're not subscribed for my VIP content, look right below here. I've posted a link, and I've also posted a link to a blog with this that applies to the same concept but different information that will also encourage you. And if you know a young mom or a young dad who really needs this, who you know could benefit greatly in their parenting from this message, forward this on to them so that they can be encouraged in their parenting too. God bless you. Make it a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye now.